Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss Machiavelli's secret, a principle so powerful it can make you unstoppable. But before we reveal what this secret is, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where someone pushed you to the edge? Where their words or actions were meant to provoke a reaction from you? In those moments, your response can make all the difference. Now, what if I told you there was a way to respond that would not only diffuse the situation, but also give you an advantage over your opponent? What you are about to learn is a principle that has been studied, practiced, and refined for centuries by those who seek power and influence. It is a principle that can help you stay in control even in the most difficult situations. So sit back, relax, and get ready to discover the secrets of responding in a way that will make you unstoppable. This is the story of how one man became invincible by ignoring 1,000 insults. Once upon a time, there was a great warrior who was known throughout the land for his bravery and skill in battle. However, he was also known for his short temper and his tendency to let his emotions get the better of him. One day, the warrior was confronted by a wise old monk who challenged him to a duel. The monk was much smaller and weaker than the warrior, but he accepted the challenge nonetheless. On the day of the duel, the warrior was eager to prove his superiority. He attacked the monk with everything he had, but to his surprise, the monk remained calm and centered. No matter how hard the warrior struck him, the monk never lost his composure. As the battle went on, the warrior began to feel a sense of unease. He couldn't understand how the monk could remain so calm in the face of such danger. The warrior continued to attack, but the monk simply defended himself effortlessly. Finally, the warrior was exhausted and frustrated. He couldn't believe he couldn't defeat someone so weak. And in a moment of anger, he asked the monk, "Why are you so calm? Are you afraid?" The monk turned to the warrior and said, "I am not afraid because I have nothing to lose. My center is unshakable." With these words, the monk had defeated the warrior without even laying a finger on him. The warrior was stunned by the monk's words. He realized that his own emotions had been his downfall. His anger and frustration had made him reckless and had prevented him from seeing the bigger picture. The warrior thanked the monk for the lesson and went on to become a more composed and effective fighter. He understood that true strength comes not from physical power, but from mental fortitude. In the world of the ancient Romans, there was a legend about a man named Cato. He was known for his unwavering composure and ability to remain calm in the face of any provocation. One day, Cato was walking through the streets of Rome when a group of young men approached him and began to heckle and harass him. They taunted him, insulted him, and tried to provoke him into a fight. However, Cato remained calm and collected. He did not rise to their bait or stoop to their level. Instead, he continued on his way as if they weren't there. The young men were shocked by Cato's indifference. They couldn't understand why he wasn't angry or upset. They had expected him to defend himself or at least show some emotion, but Cato's lack of reaction was unnerving. The young men persisted in their taunts, but Cato remained unfazed. After a while, the young men got bored and walked away. From then on, the legend of Cato's indifference grew. People would tell stories of how he had been able to remain calm and collected no matter what. People understood that Cato's indifference was not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of strength. By not reacting to the provocations of others, he had shown them that he was not easily intimidated or controlled. He was truly a master of his emotions. Once you understand that anger is a predictable weakness and composure is an untouchable strength, you have taken the first step towards becoming invincible. As Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "He who is not master of himself is not master of anything." When you remain steadfast and calm amidst the chaos of others, you become unshakable, like a mountain that cannot be moved. In the timeless classic, the Prince Machiavelli offers a blueprint for acquiring and maintaining power. Though often misunderstood and mischaracterized, his teachings hold profound truths that can guide us in today's world. Let's explore how his wisdom can help us become better leaders. One of Machiavelli's key teachings is that it is better to be feared than loved, provided you do not incur hatred. At first glance, this statement may seem harsh and unsympathetic. However, upon deeper reflection, we realize that it is not an endorsement of cruelty or callousness. Instead, it is a pragmatic observation about the nature of power. In today's world, we often admire leaders who exude warmth and kindness. And while these qualities are important, Machiavelli reminds us that they are not enough to maintain power. To truly succeed, we must strike a balance between being liked and being respected. We must be approachable and empathetic, yet also capable of inspiring fear and obedience. For example, Nelson Mandela was not only a symbol of hope and forgiveness, but also a strong and decisive leader who was not afraid to make tough decisions. Similarly, Mahatma Gandhi was deeply compassionate, but he was also a fierce advocate for independence who could be remarkably stubborn and uncompromising when necessary. Becoming a master of your emotions is a journey that requires constant practice and dedication. It is not a destination that can be reached once and for all. Every day you will be faced with new challenges and opportunities to practice your emotional mastery. That's where the concept of the 1,000 insults comes in. By choosing to ignore and overcome 1,000 small provocations, you train yourself to remain neutral and composed in the face of adversity. You learn to detach yourself from the outcomes of small conflicts and focus on the bigger picture. As you accumulate these small victories, you build a fortress of mental invincibility around yourself. Soon enough, people start to take notice of your calmness and composure. They may try to test your limits, but they will find that their provocations roll off you like water off a duck's back. And that is when you truly become unstoppable. As the legendary Bruce Lee once said, "Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one." Becoming emotionally intelligent is a continuous process that involves developing self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. This journey requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to grow and change. By embracing the path of emotional intelligence, you can become a better leader, a more effective communicator, and a happier, more fulfilled individual. Now let's talk about the third step in our journey to becoming emotionally intelligent: strategic silence. In the book, The Art of Seduction, Robert Greene writes, "The most violent act of defiance is often the patient, strategic withdrawal of interest. When you choose to remain silent in the face of anger or provocation, you break the cycle of reactivity and show the other person that you are not going to give them the satisfaction of a response. This can be incredibly unsettling for someone who is used to getting a rise out of you. It makes them question their own sanity, and they may even start to doubt their own perception of reality. By remaining silent, you are essentially saying that their anger and provocation mean nothing to you. This can be a powerful way to disarm an angry person and bring them down a peg. So the next time someone tries to provoke you into a reaction, remember the power of strategic silence. Remain calm, composed, and quiet, and watch as their anger deflates like a punctured balloon. Remember, as the old Chinese proverb goes, "He who controls others may seem powerful, but he who has mastered himself is truly strong." By now, you have learned the first two steps in becoming emotionally intelligent: building a fortress of mental invincibility and practicing strategic silence. These two steps have helped you to become more composed and less reactive in the face of adversity. Now, it's time to take the third step, which is to build your fortress of mental health. To do this, you need to pay attention to how you react to small provocations. When you feel yourself getting angry or upset, ask yourself whether it is worth getting worked up over. If the answer is no, then let it go. Don't give the small stuff the power to affect your peace of mind. Over time, you will find that you are less reactive and more in control of your emotions. This will give you a sense of calm and confidence that will serve you well in all areas of your life. It's important to note that this process is not about suppressing your emotions. Rather, it's about choosing which emotions you want to express and when to express them. By learning to control your reactions, you will be able to project an image of composure and confidence, which will make you more respected and admired by others. Remember, true strength comes not from physical power, but from mental fortitude. By mastering your emotions, you become invincible in the face of adversity. So go forth and conquer the world with the power of emotional intelligence. Ignore the 1,000 insults and become the master of your own destiny. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos on history, philosophy, and everything in between. Every day offers you chances to be tested. You may be cut off in traffic, insulted in a conversation, betrayed by someone you trusted, or dismissed by someone you thought respected you. In all of these moments, the average person reacts with anger. They explode, they argue, they lash out, and in doing so, they show their cards. They reveal that others have access to the strings that move them. But Machiavelli would ask, why would you ever let another person hold those strings? Why would you give them access to the most important territory you possess, your mind? To give into anger is to surrender your inner kingdom. To master your emotions is to reign over it. There is a deeper strategy here, one that stretches beyond simple calmness. When you remain indifferent to insults, people grow confused. They expect a clash, a reaction, an outburst. When none comes, the silence grows louder than words. Silence unsettles. It makes people guess, it forces them into their own imagination, and their imagination will always paint you as more powerful than you are. This is why Machiavelli emphasized appearances. What you reveal and what you conceal matters more than what you truly feel. Anger is something you conceal, never something you reveal. Picture the court of a Renaissance prince. Intrigues, betrayals, conspiracies every hour, someone attempts to provoke, to test, to manipulate. The prince who becomes angry exposes his impatience, and impatient rulers make reckless choices. The prince who smiles and listens carefully while concealing his true thoughts keeps everyone in the dark. Enemies cannot strike what they cannot see. The same is true in life today. At your workplace, in your family, among your friends, people test you. If you meet every test with anger, they will know your limits. If you meet them with calmness, they will never find your edge. Even in moments of personal injustice, control is the key. Someone cheats you, someone lies about you, someone takes credit for your work. Do not react in fury. Instead, pause. Take note. Let them believe they have succeeded. Because the mind that is calm can still plot, while the mind that is angry can only react. Your patience becomes a weapon, your silence becomes a trap. Anger burns quickly and leaves you blind. Patience lasts, and with it you can see the battlefield clearly. You can choose the right time to act, and when you act, it will not be from emotion but from strategy. You must also understand that people will try to control you through guilt, shame, or outrage. They know that if they can make you feel ashamed or guilty, you will bend. They know that if they can make you angry, you will make mistakes. But the Machiavellian mind is immune to such games. You measure every situation by power, not by emotion. If guilt makes you weaker, you discard it. If shame bends your will, you reject it. If anger clouds your mind, you replace it with analysis. Ask always, what benefits me? What makes me stronger? What gives me the advantage? If emotion does not serve your strength, you refuse it. There is also great dignity in calmness. Think of a storm raging, lightning flashing, winds howling. And in the center of the storm, there is a still eye. That stillness commands awe. People who see you unshaken in chaos will begin to whisper about your composure. They will say you are difficult to read, impossible to provoke, dangerous to oppose. They will not know what thoughts move behind your calm eyes, and that mystery becomes part of your aura. People fear what they cannot predict. They respect what they cannot control. To achieve this mastery, you must reframe the meaning of provocation. When someone tries to anger you, do not see it as an insult. See it as a test. Each attempt at provocation is another opportunity to prove to yourself that you are untouchable. Every time you refuse to be moved, you grow stronger. The provocation is no longer a wound, but a weight that builds your inner strength. In this way, your enemies become your trainers, your critics become your teachers, and every attempt to provoke you only hardens your armor. But Machiavelli would warn you, control does not mean weakness. It does not mean you never act. It means you act with precision when the moment serves you. Do not confuse calmness with passivity. The calm leader still strikes, but only when the strike will achieve the maximum effect. If you lash out in anger, you may hit too soon, too wildly, too foolishly. But if you wait, if you let your enemy underestimate you, if you let them relax into the belief that you are harmless, your eventual action will cut deeper than any angry response could. Control makes your actions surgical. Anger makes them clumsy. Imagine living in such a way that nothing could disturb your peace. People gossip about you, and you continue your work. They insult you, and you smile as if you didn't hear them. They try to embarrass you, and you turn their attempt into a joke that makes others laugh. This is not weakness. This is supremacy. You have removed from their hands the ability to affect your spirit. Once you taste this freedom, you will never want to return to the chains of anger. Anger enslaves. Calmness liberates. So the next time you feel provoked, pause and ask yourself, what serves my power? To explode in rage or to remain in control? The answer will always be control. For control is strength, and strength, as Machiavelli knew, is the foundation of respect, influence, and lasting power.